Crimea have been a part of Russia for a very long time. And what we see here, and he says that for the last 100 years, for World War I, World War II, as well as the Cold War, we tried to keep Germany and Russia apart. And the interesting thing is, this was something, of course, that is very interesting to the Germans. They want to know how they're being played, okay? And they're looking at this, and it is true. They've tried to keep Germany and Russia apart because they believe that that is an existential threat to us. So they want to set up this corridor. We've got conflicting existential threats, Joe. Looks like they're really pushing for war.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, it's definitely a volatile situation over there. Like you said, paratroopers, I mean, there's already big convoys going on. We're trying to push their buttons and see if they're going to react. Yeah. And it's not going to be good if it happens.
And it's absolutely insane. As one of the articles we have up on Infowars.com says, a Russian analyst says, this is much hotter, much closer to a conflict than we ever had during the Cold War. Yeah. There we had kind of a mutually assured destruction. It was kind of a standoff. There were all these proxy wars in small countries. But now we have gone right to their doorstep. And he's pointing out the Russians are very concerned that we're going to get into Ukraine, where we could be just 70 miles from Stalingrad, 300 miles from Moscow. I mean, that is right on their doorstep. So they consider that to be something that is an existential threat. In other words, something to die for. And he says, at the beginning of this, I thought it was very interesting. The person in the audience asked him and said, what about Islamic terrorism? He goes, well, it's a threat. We need to deal with it, but it's not an existential threat. But yet they tell everybody that everything is targeted towards the Middle East, okay? Whereas they're going with this. Now, this is the next segment that I wanted to get your comments on, because we had an article, came out when the general went over there. This is Lieutenant General Hodges, when he went to the Ukraine and he visited with troops. He was giving them medals, and RT came out and said, if a Russian analyst there said, if an American general thanks Ukrainian fighting forces and gives them medals, that means that he is their general. And I kind of dismissed this at the times, like, okay, that's RT. This is kind of over-the-top rhetoric. But then Stratfor said the same thing, and I want to get your comments after that. Let's listen to what George Friedman with Stratfor said to this group of people that he was talking to.
Last week, 10 days ago, General Hodges, Commander U.S. Army Europe, visited Ukraine. He announced that U.S. trainers would now officially be coming, not just unofficially coming.
I'm very happy to be in Ukraine today as my first official visit as Commander of United States Army Europe. I'd like to mention the great privilege I had to visit wounded Ukrainian soldiers today at Pechersk Military Hospital.
He actually pinned medals on Ukrainian fighters, which by protocol of the military is not the way. Foreigners don't get to pin on, medals. But he did, showing that this was his army. He then left and in the Baltics announced that the United States would be pre-positioning armor, artillery, and other equipment in the Baltics, Poland, Romania, and Bulgaria.
Okay, so he's saying that foreigners don't get to pin medals on people. And by the fact that he was doing it, he was showing us that it was his army. And also pointing out, he mentioned the fact that they are going to send troops over there. He goes, so now they're doing it and telling people about it. So even he is admitting that this has been going on for a very long time. I just think it's interesting for people to understand and to hear it from multiple sources. It isn't like he's telling us something that we don't know. Nevertheless, the fact that this general would go over there, and we've been showing numerous sources showing that we had involvement in beginning this whole Ukrainian revolution. We were financing it.
You keep seeing all these videos popping up saying, oh, there's an American soldier there.
Yes.
And everyone's like, no, there's no Americans there. What are you talking about?
That's right. They even talked to him, and he said something. They call out Blackwater, and these guys would run away from them or whatever. So we've seen that. And now this general goes over and does a photo op handing out medals. And so when I saw the Stratfor president say that, when I saw RT say that, I came over and I asked you, what's the protocol for this?
Yeah, so for instance, the last time I was in Afghanistan, I was under the 101st Airborne. Now, they were in charge of the AO. That's an area of operation that we were operating in Afghanistan, and the coast, or Kaus province, however you want to say it. And just because I was in the 82nd Airborne, I didn't get an 82nd Airborne coin for that. I got a coin from the 101st Airborne because that's who was leading that mission. So if there's an American general over there giving out medals or coins, the
Exactly.
soldiers, and that pretty much says, hey, we're the ones running that operation, just like when I go to...
Hang on, we got to take a break. I want to talk more about that, and we're going to have an update on Alex's condition right after the break, so stay with us. We've got an update on his surgery and his condition. Stay with us.
Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com Oil of Oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
Have you ever felt like the United States government knows way too much about your financial affairs? I continue to hear stories about property seizures, frozen bank accounts, confiscation of stocks and bonds. It makes me wonder if the U.S. citizen will ever again have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Unfortunately, with the Drug and Money Laundering Act, the IRS Revenue Ruling 6045 of 1984, and the Trading with the Enemy Act and Franklin D. Roosevelt's Executive Order of 1933, some precious metal holdings are subject to government intervention. For this reason, Midas Resources has prepared a report explaining the boundaries of trading precious metals privately. Whether if you have any intention of trading with Midas Resources or not, I have instructed my representatives to give this report out free. Call for your free copy at 1-800-686-2237. When investing, always proceed with caution. Again, call 1-800-686-2237. Exercise your legal right to trade metals privately. 1-800-686-2237.
Hi, this is Steve Sanchez, and based on a recent study, it was found that 57 million Americans had legal issues over the last 12 months, but only 60% of those studied sought out the services of a lawyer. Why? In a nutshell, affordability. Well, my friends at Legal Shield have created a solution that can help you not if, but when you need an attorney. For as little as $17 per month, Legal Shield will provide you unlimited access to qualified attorneys at an accomplished law firm for advice and counsel on legal issues, no matter how serious or trivial. For over 40 years and with 1.4 million families across North America, Legal Shield can help you, the loyal GCN listener. Representatives are standing by now to answer your questions, so call them now at 1-855-340-SAVE. That's 1-855-340-7283, or visit them at lsprotection.com. That's lsprotection.com.
Results will vary from case to case.
Music, one of life's greatest pleasures, has tremendous power. The power to bring a tear to the eye or to quiet a racing mind. Music also has the power to heal and has been used through the centuries to treat depression, create energy, induce sleep, relieve stress, and chronic pain. Now, Michael Terrell has created Whole Tones, the healing frequency music projects. These frequencies were uncovered in the music of King David and believed to have astounding healing effects. Now, you can benefit from healing music therapy simply by listening daily to this music in the comfort of your own home or office. It's a new year. Give yourself the gift of healing and transformation. Don't miss this opportunity to get an absolutely free sample of this music that you can begin using right away. Just visit WholeTones55.com and get a free sample. Visit WHOLETones55.com today for your free sample. That's WholeTones55.com. WholeTones55.com.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight in studio with Joe Biggs, and we've been talking about this video from Stratfor and what's going on in the Ukraine, the very dangerous, conflicting, existential threats between the U.S. and Russia. But this is also the beginning of our No Fooling special, running from April 1st, April Fool's Day, through Friday. And we're not fooling. You get free shipping for everything that's at the InfoWars store. Right now, one of the products that we've got, Oxy Powder. It's not a harsh herbal cleanser. It's the only cleansing product that has ingredients backed by real clinical studies. Just take a little bit of this and sleep on it, and it will help to cleanse your colon for colon health. Very important thing. That's available at InfoWars store, InfoWarsLife.com. You can call 888-253-3139. And again, everything at the store is free shipping between now and Friday. Now, I said we're going to have an update on Alex Jones's hernia surgery and his condition. And actually, let's go to that update right now from Alex Jones himself. Alex, how you doing?
Right, David. Thank you so much. I tell you, medical technology's come a long way. We criticize MD medicine a lot, but as I've said, my dad's an oral surgeon and a dentist himself, so he comes from that whole school. When you've got a broken tooth or when you've got a broken leg or you've got a hernia or you've got a gunshot wound, nothing's better than MD medicine. And I tell you, I had a really bad experience when I was 16. And basically had a compound fracture and had to get a pin when 5 guys jumped me in the parking lot. And I was able to deal with 3 of them, but then they tackled me and broke my leg. It took them 9 times the level of sedative to put me under. And I woke up on the operating table, so I had a little bit of a phobia. But I tell you, this went amazing. I got in there at 5:30 in the morning, had the surgery at 7. I was awake at 9:30. Took them an hour. It was a big hernia because I've been there for 14 years. And it had gotten bigger and bigger because I'd lost so much weight, and then the muscles had gotten larger, so it was forcing a piece of intestine out there, and I could have got a piece of dead gut, which can lead to a syndrome where you lose your entire intestine, basically, and have to get a colostomy. So by the grace of God, we got in, got it taken care of, and I'm up and around. I'm not even on painkillers right now, but I'm starting to have a little bit of pain as the local anesthesia wears off. I was under complete general as well, but there's a good chance I'm going to try to come in tomorrow and at least do part of the show with you.
Wow.
So be ready for that. If I feel worse tomorrow, then I won't. But I got to tell you, it's miraculous. I mean, I left the hospital an hour and 2 hours ago. I went to Whole Foods, did some grocery shopping, and I'm back here at the house. And I just want to thank my family. I want to thank all the listeners for their prayers and everybody else. Because, I mean, I know hernia surgery is not a huge deal, but at the same time, it can have complications. So we just pray.
Oh, yeah.
Everything clears up with that, and it gets a lot better. But I did research with some of the crew and found a Dr. Livingston, who's one of the best-rated hernia surgeons in Texas, if not the country. So I want to praise God, thank God for that, thank all the listeners for their prayers. You know, I worry about Joe and stuff when he goes in for medical procedures or anybody around the office. But just keep praying for the whole InfoWars operation. We've never had more influence, never had more of an effect, again, by the grace of God, and we're definitely over the target in a big way, and the world's waking up, so it's a very exciting time to be alive, a lot of tyranny. You know, just in closing, I know you guys are going to go to break in a minute and come back and finish up your geopolitical analysis and how serious things are. I mean, look at the articles that are up on InfoWars.com today of just what we're dealing with. We have city official calls veteran a domestic enemy for supporting medical marijuana, which has proven medical uses. Doesn't mean we endorse the abuse of marijuana. And then we've got university requires students to apply for free speech permits to just speak or hand out student info. That's why they've had people kicked off campus for pocket constitutions. This isn't liberalism. This is totalitarianism. Now MSNBC blames law-abiding citizens for cops' deaths once the Second Amendment banned. This is an authoritarian takeover, stealing the moral high ground of classical liberalism of Thomas Jefferson. Again, George Washington was the first major conservative of this country by any historical yardstick. Jefferson's the liberal. You can debate their two different views of things, and you kind of in the middle of Benjamin Franklin. But we know or John Adams, but we know what we're dealing with here is totalitarianism of right-wing and left-wing flavors, and they found they could sell totalitarianism as leftism because it convinces the left. But the good news was I got mobbed. I mean, probably stopped 20 times by people in Whole Foods when I was there for an hour with what you'd think of as liberals saying, we love the show, we're awake, we know what's going on, we know about the paradigm, we understand. You know, 2 of them told me, I've got guns now, I go out and go shooting. This is the type of stuff people were telling me. It's very exciting. The globalists are losing control. That's why they're coming in with total tyranny. But again, thank you all for your prayers, and just I really appreciate everybody. I appreciate David, the great job you're doing, and the rest of the crew. And so just thank you so much, everybody.
Well, you sound great, Alex. It sounds like I'm amazed that you can talk that clearly and coherently that quickly after surgery. So that's a real blessing.
Oh, yeah, they even paralyzed, my lungs and to breathe for me so they could untense the muscles because I had tested sticking out. So I was under full sedation, but I'm all back. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Don't overdo it. We'll see you tomorrow.
We're on the
We're going to be right back.